So a lot of people think that Kai Cenat just woke up randomly one day and decided to become a fashion designer. That is not what's happening. What you are actually watching is a rollout. And performative artists don't just disappear to learn how to sew. So today I wanted to give y'all my overall perspective as a fashion designer who took the non-traditional route, observing Kai Cenat stepping away from streaming and transitioning into the fashion industry. So there's a lot of juxtaposition here, right? One side of the internet, there's a lot of people reacting, criticizing. And then on the other side of the fence, a lot of people say that he's building and creating something powerful from the ground up. And if you think this is only about him leaving streaming, then I feel like you got the wrong assumption. For those of y'all who don't know, Kai Cenat is a successful content creator and streamer who has caught the attention of many people around the world, some of your favorite celebrities, and has showcased his charismatic personality in many different ways. Kai Cenat dropped a video titled "I Quit," and mad people started panicking on the internet. But if you actually watched it without putting fear into it, it did not feel like abandonment, at least to me. Honestly, it felt more so like a pause or like a recalibration, and I could relate to that. Honestly, we're used to seeing him on stream being outgoing all the time and having a whole bunch of things going on at once. But it seems like as he's maturing, he wants to point people into a quieter space, a place that has less performance, and honestly showcasing more discipline. And I'm gonna be honest, the loudest change was actually a signal that the real work had already been happening. I can understand why this could be triggering for people. This moment is triggering because it disrupts something deeper than content. People don't just follow creators in this day and age. They attach an identity to them as well. So when a creator has been doing something for a long period of time and then they suddenly change direction, it could feel personal. It could feel like that. Not because the pivot is wrong per se, but because it breaks the version of the story that people were comfortably consuming. And especially when a creator reaches new heights. The audience usually expects permanence. So we have performative versus process, right? No. Let's really talk about the word performative, because it seems like people been loosely throwing that word around this whole story right now. Performative is about optics without repetition. Process is about repetition without no applause. That's the thing. I get it. It seems like because he transitioned from streaming and he said that he was quitting, and then he has all of these videos up on his YouTube channel, it can come off as him trying to get an applause for stepping into a new space, right? But me personally, I like to re-engineer stuff. If you actually pay attention to his video, he was doing the fashion stuff before he even ended streaming a minute ago, right? He still had his locks in his hair. And when you re-engineer this concept, you gotta ask, is the work being done off camera? We weren't even aware of him doing this until he posted it, right? So there's nothing wrong with documenting your process when you're stepping into a new venture. When it comes to actually like stepping into the space of fashion, you gotta actually be locked in on the craft. When it comes to you being a fashion designer and being hands-on with the process, you cannot focus on multiple things at a time. I honestly believe that he's really passionate about creativity, because even for him to be able to have a vision about expanding as a streamer and capturing the attention of the world the way that he did shows that he could transmute that through another medium. I'm gonna be honest, like when I first started my sewing journey, it was not easy at all. I'm still at a point where I'm still figuring things out because I didn't take any sewing classes along the way, you feel me? And during the process, like, yeah, I did set up the camera once in a while on my iPhone, or some of my friends were taking pictures of me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was performative. It was just me documenting my process on a new creative venture. And I'm not gonna lie, I had to really go through the content, pay attention to the things that he was doing. He's actually pattern making and doing measurements, and he's actually like cutting with the right scissors and not using paper scissors on fabric, and he's actually learning how to thread the machine. So it's not like he just pulling up on the camera and pretending to sew something just to get some content metrics to fill a quota, you feel me? Like, he's actually learning how to do it. The difference between him and somebody else is that he actually has the resources and the finances to do so, and he's also able to pay a team to help him out with the content, you feel me? So again, when we're talking about the word performative, we gotta re-engineer it. Is the work happening when the cameras are off? Is there consistency without validation? We gotta ask ourselves these questions. I'm not telling you what to believe. You're able to form your own opinion and perspective about what you're watching, but those are the things that I like to reverse engineer and ask myself before I actually judge something that I'm watching, especially me being a fashion designer. And when you take the time out to look at it this way, the pivot that somebody is making can look a little less like cosplay and more like commitment, because at the end of the day, it is not easy to pick up a sewing machine, scissors, a ruler, and all of that and just start making clothes off the bat. It's not. When I first started my sewing journey, there were times where I was literally throwing my pieces in the garbage because of how frustrated I was getting. So trust me, if somebody's taking the time out to do this and they're consistent with it, I respect it. So now we have aesthetic versus design, right? And this is where a lot of outsiders usually get lost. Being fashionable is about having taste, curating taste. You feel me? Being a fashion designer is about problem solving. You're literally dealing with the fit of your clothes, the function, the materials that go well with your silhouette, the durability of the clothes, the production limits, pricing, cost, repetition, and even articulating your own vision within yourself. And that's why so many people in that industry do not last. Because honestly, whether people like it or not, fashion is not just about being seen. It's about being corrected by the work and having a more open mind about the world in general. Why do fashion designers ignore difference? Let's just start here. Fashion design is brutally competitive. People think it's easy. It's not. A lot of times people tend to reject new and abrupt ideas in a competitive environment. And sometimes people in that space, like in the fashion world, may ignore somebody like him because, you know, he's a streamer stepping into fashion. He's just a kid who's good with marketing and being on camera. What is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? But this happens because ignoring something different protects the system that the designers already survived in. Kai Cenat stepping into fashion does not replace anyone. I'm going to say it again. Kai Cenat stepping into fashion does not replace anyone. We got to stop with this limited perspective of the fact that, yo, there's somebody with more money and more access than me, and because I've been working so hard, it's going to prevent me from stepping into the best designer I could be. Yo, that's closed-mindedness, bro. If you have that mentality, that means you don't have faith in yourself, bro. I'm going to keep it a buck. You don't have faith in yourself. Because why are you looking at another individual to determine where you're going to go in life? That don't make no sense. It's understandable, right? Because you feel like, yo, I've been doing this stuff for so long. But at the end of the day, we got to pay attention to the times that we're in. There's a lot of pattern disruptions happening right now. We're seeing people stepping into spaces that's coming from another avenue. So we might have a football player or, you know, a UFC fighter stepping into boxing and a boxer stepping into UFC. Or we'll have like a painter who's into like wood shop, right? There's just a whole bunch of different things that's happening right now in the culture. I honestly think that we're in a renaissance era right now. Especially because of all the chaos that's happening. There's so much things happening with AI and artificial development and technology. So we have to be at the forefront of creating things that are raw and authentic to ourselves. And honestly having faith to carry out our visions in the most consistent and authentic way possible. So Kai Cenat stepping into fashion is not going to block doors. And it doesn't erase anyone's craft. Pay attention to how it was when he started streaming. When Kai Cenat started blowing up on streaming, yo, and he started getting a lot of recognition around the world, mad people wanted to start streaming. Not everybody could sustain it like he did, but what did he do? He opened up Streamer University. He started reposting other streamer stuff that was commenting on his work, and it allowed other streamers after him to create a platform for themselves. They are not Kai Cenat. They can't copy the exact blueprint that Kai Cenat has, right? But he still opened up a door for other people after him to step into that world. So I look at it the same as fashion. There's going to be somebody who steps into a space and opens doors for people after them. But at the end of the day, when it comes to you and your dreams, you have to stick to your vision. And that's what he's doing. Kai Cenat could literally have more people watching his fashion development process than people have ever watched a fashion show in history. So that doesn't dilute fashion. It just expands who gets to witness it. So I'm very big on pattern recognition, right? Especially within the space of black artists and black artists expanding. For some strange reason, there's always this pressure for black artists to stay in one lane. At least for me, being a black artist, a lot of times people have a hard time understanding why you're stepping into a new era of yourself or a new avenue. And oftentimes people will say, yo, if you're doing this and it's working, why not stay in that? Or they'll say, don't do too much now because you might veer off too far from your audience and then they might not like you anymore. But yo, to me, history tells a different story. I'm not having it. Every major cultural shift came from someone refusing to be singular. And at first, it never makes sense. Because it is not meant to. Expansion only looks confusing to people who are not building or people who are comfortable in the confinements that they set for themselves. I'm telling you, this is not the first time we've seen this, right? I saw that Kai Cenat was on a call with Jamie Foxx the other day, and people were like, yo, who's Jamie Foxx? He's some old head. Like, why is he getting advice from him? These young kids don't know, bro. Y'all don't know. Jamie Foxx had a sitcom show where he was himself writing his scripts, singing on his own stuff, acting in movies. When I look back on it, a lot of these artists had the blueprint laid out for us. You feel me? It was just only a couple of people were willing to take the risk to do so and follow through with it. Will Smith with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith was rapping. He started doing movies. He was doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then look at somebody like A$AP Rocky. When I was in high school, right? I think I was in my sophomore or junior year. When he dropped his first tape, he had New York on lock with fashion, bro. He was a guy from Harlem. Him and his mans was doing photo shoots and showing their fashion sense. And mad people in the hood was saying, yo, that look mad sus. They wearing skinny jeans. They wearing these sneakers with wings on them. They had the Jeremy Scotts on. They have gold teeth. They look like they from the South. You feel me? But it was just like a new era where something was just coming to life. And after a while, you got to see how his perspective got to expand throughout the world. And then after a couple years, A$AP had a big influence on the fashion culture. And now he with Rihanna. Rihanna did the same thing. She came out as a music artist. She started venturing out into business. She launched Fenty Beauty. We're seeing it time and time again. Yes, Kai did not come from music or modeling, whatever. He came from streaming to fashion, but we're gonna continue to keep seeing this more and more. But I'm making the point that it is a beautiful thing to see somebody love something and then pivot into something else when they take it serious and act on their vision. That's not an easy thing to do. So I want to share my story with y'all, right? As a fashion designer and somebody who took the non-traditional route. Before fashion, before cinematography, before any of this, even before YouTube, I was just chasing basketball. My dream was to play college basketball, potentially go to the NBA or play overseas, and just make a living off of hooping, you feel me? And growing up in Brooklyn, New York, being introduced to basketball was just like a lifestyle that just kept us focused, that brought a sense of community, that kept me disciplined. And backtracking even more, when I was a kid, my grandmother introduced me to the sewing machine. And she was born in Haiti. She came here with her husband to create a life and foundation for her kids, my mother and her siblings. And I got to watch my grandmother create magic, literally. Like, I was watching her craft garments without any patterns, you feel me? And I always thought it was something magical. And I always wanted to be able to articulate and express myself like the way she did, because I saw how much peace of mind that it brought her. And then fast forward into high school, while I was hooping, I got introduced to a fashion drawing class. And my fashion teacher, Mrs. Murphy, saw a lot of potential in me. She told me to apply to the Fashion Institute of Technology, where I went on to get my bachelor's degree in production management. I had no idea I was going to go to FRT for that long. My goal was to go for a semester to see how it was and then transfer to play basketball, and I never left. And when I gave up basketball and I started focusing on fashion, I started feeling like, damn, like I'm losing my identity. I feel like I'm not like who I was anymore, and I feel like it was a bad thing. But as time went on, I realized that I needed to do something that kept me close to myself. And that's how fashion entered my life. It didn't start off as a career strategy, for me. It just started off as something that grounded me, that brought me closer to myself, and that allowed me to learn more about the world. Like I said, I didn't take the traditional design route. I did not take any sewing classes because my major consisted of business. It was a business major. So I was learning about product development, sourcing, manufacturing, the overall product life cycle, and how the manufacturing process goes when it comes to producing clothes. Y'all could look it up if y'all want to. And I could do another video if y'all want me to about my major in depth. But it was very challenging. I really started sewing a little bit at the end of high school, but I didn't really have the tools, right? And then sadly enough, my grandmother passed away my second year of college. So I didn't really get to fully learn everything that I wanted to when I was ready. And I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology from 2014 to 2018. So I didn't really start taking the initiative to learn how to sew and do the basics until probably like 2017, 2018 on an industrial sewing machine. And then when I graduated with my bachelor's, I took a little break. But then that summer, I spent every single day in the labs after my job when I was working in the mental health field to learn how to sew and to develop my first collection. And I promised myself that I was going to do it. And the hard thing was that like a lot of people in my school and a lot of even professors were telling me I can't be a fashion designer without going to school for fashion design or menswear. And it made me feel discouraged at times. But I always told myself, like, nobody can put a limitation on myself but me. You feel me? So I took the initiative. I started learning from my peers. I was going to the lab with my friends. And then after a while, I started expanding my craft. I put my work out. And people had no choice but to respect it. And if they didn't, oh well. Now it is 2026. I would say I've been sewing for about like 8, 9, maybe like 9 years. And I feel like I'm still scratching the surface, even though I've accomplished so much. And you can go on my social media on Instagram or TikTok or my past YouTube videos just to see where I started. But it's been a journey. But as time went on, I realized that I just needed to search for understanding. I didn't need to search for other people's approval. But the only way that you're going to learn is by doing, by failing publicly. And there were times where I took breaks from fashion design and people thought that I quit, and I didn't. I just needed to focus on my mental health. So I get it. I understand what it's like to be so passionate about something, to give your all to it, and then to get to a point where you feel burnt out and you just feel like you're giving so much of yourself to something. And the beautiful thing is that now I'm a fashion designer who's expanded into music, cinematography, editing, and so much more. And I don't feel like I gotta be boxed in because other people tell me to. Those things didn't pull me away from fashion. It just made me have a deeper connection to it. Fashion inspires my music process and music inspires my fashion process. And honestly, when you have different disciplines as a creative, your work becomes much more clearer. And as a Haitian artist in America, this hits close to home. Ironically, Kai is also part Haitian. And in our culture, creativity isn't really looked at as like practical, you feel me? Most of the time, we're encouraged to choose stability. So going to school for law, to become a doctor, a nurse, just anything that's traditionally going to bring you money and income sustainably. And oftentimes art is always looked at as a risk, not really a future. But to me, I chose something that brought me more peace of mind. And I hope that somebody watching this can take the initiative to step into something that brings them peace of mind and that brings them closer to themselves, because you are not limited to one thing, yo. And this is a perfect example of what I mean. I look at sewing clothes as discipline and freedom. Sewing is not just a skill, right? It teaches patience, delayed gratification, problem solving, all the above, right? And especially because we're living in a world where things are moving so fast, sewing clothes actually helps you slow down. And with the cost of clothing rising, it also helps you have more economic freedom instead of shopping for mad clothes and spending mad of your bread on a whole bunch of different pieces. Some people might look at this as a distraction, but I honestly look at this like a bridge, yo. Alright, so let's talk about human behavior for a second. When somebody else takes a risk, it creates a mirror. And everybody's not going to like what they see. That's just the reality. And low-key, that discomfort can turn into criticism. That's what we're seeing a lot of. Not because the moves that somebody's making is wrong per se, but it could remind somebody of what they didn't nurture potentially. Yo, I'm telling you, like I said, we are in a Renaissance era. And yo, history has shown us this pattern many times, bro. I had to realize that periods of chaos are always followed by creative rebirths. And how do I say this? Right now, the world needs something that brings us back to ourselves. And there's something mad beautiful about creating your own world. I don't care what anybody says. Yo, sometimes I feel like people forget how beautiful it is to create an artifact that will mean something a couple years from now, or even a couple decades from now, you feel me? You can't take that for granted, man. I wish that I had certain things that my great grandparents had when they was younger, you feel me? Like, just to be able to understand the structure of how something was made, or just even understanding how important something was to them. But I want y'all to remember that performance is being loud without any depth, right? The process is going to be quiet until it's undeniable. And we're not watching somebody just leave something behind. You're watching somebody have the courage to build something new layer by layer, with some resources, finances, and help that he built for himself. If you're a creative, this is your permission to act big, think big, chase your wildest dreams, bro. There's no reason why you should be sitting behind a screen and judging somebody else when you know you could be doing the same thing or more. You got all the resources. If you watching this, you got the internet, Wi-Fi, you feel me? You got a pen, paper, and you have Google, TikTok, YouTube to look things up if you got questions for them. So there's no excuses. I'd love to hear y'all overall perspective of this, and congratulations to anybody who continuously follows through on their creative journey. And honestly, congratulations to Kai being able to be a black man who had a vision for himself to do streaming and to have the courage to step into a new medium in front of millions of people, bro. It's not easy. And feel free to share your opinions and perspectives with me in the comments. I'm always open to learning and hearing new insights from people. And if you want to hear more perspective videos and see more of my creative journey, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button.